Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. If you happen to be on the East Coast, welcome to the Dos Leprechauns podcast. I'm Jason.
Nate.
And we are excited today to be joined by new Notre Dame signee, offensive lineman Sully Garvin. Sully, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, tell us about your recruiting process. Who was your primary recruiter, and what were some of the things that Notre Dame checked the boxes for you to make sure that was your college to go to?
Yeah, for sure. So I had 12 offers. My first offer was Western Michigan, really local school to me. Then I started picking up. Indiana offered. I had Kansas, Purdue, Cincinnati, schools like that. But once I got my Notre Dame offer, my mind was kind of just made up. First time I even stepped on campus in that place, I had no stars, no offers, no nothing. I just fell in love with that place and knew if I got the chance that's where I was going to come. Um, Obviously, who wouldn't want to play for Coach Freeman? Um, Coach Rudolph's awesome, and Carter and the whole recruiting staff just made the place feel like home. And it's really going to set me up for life, whether football goes into a pro career or not.
Awesome. That's great. You said the first time you went on campus was that wasn't an official visit, right? You just happened to be going to a game there and got to see everything.
Well, the first time I was actually a sophomore, and it was for spring practice. I remember I just finished up a football camp at GVSU, which is a D2 school, like 40 minutes from me. Um, like I said, I had no stars, no offers, no interest, and they saw my film and invited me and wanted to get me on campus. So
And you said Carter was he your main recruiter, or was it Coach Rudolph?
it was kind of a mix of both. From the beginning, it was Carter, and then as I committed, it was mainly just maintaining my relationships with Coach Rudolph and Freeman. And they always reach out. They're great people.
Did you have any guys that lived close, or current recruits, or guys that were on the Notre Dame radar that were kind of cheering you along to make sure that you chose the Irish over some of the other offers?
Being I was one of the earlier commits in the class, nobody really near me, but once I committed, I was always giving my 2 cents to Gregory Patrick because he lives, 30 minutes from me, as well as Ben Nichols, who's 2.5 hours away from me on the east side of the state. So yeah, definitely.
What would you say is your favorite spot on campus?
Oh man, it's got to be the grotto. I feel like you ask anybody, that's what they'll say. I've seen it only in day. I haven't seen it at night. I've heard it's pretty special at night, but it's a great place for sure. You'll always find people there.
So one of the questions I've been wanting to ask some of the recruits for this incredible class is, and a lot's been discussed, but it seems like there was literally no wavering whatsoever amongst the entire group. I'm assuming you guys are probably like in a big chat group and all that kind of stuff. Can you give us a little inside information on was there anybody that was kind of like, hey, having second thoughts, or was everybody just completely dialed in and ready to just sign the, put ink to paper and be a part of this incredible team?
Yeah, no, everybody was locked in. Like when we started 0-2, there was not a single person that was, saying anything negative. Like we all stick together through that whole thing, and now we're 10-2, looking to make the playoffs as long as Texas Tech wins. But yeah, no, everybody's been locked in since day one.
That's awesome. Is there anybody that's kind of, I guess, like, last year, or I'm sorry, 2 years ago, CJ Carr was kind of the general that was going after guys and recruiting guys. You talked about Gregory Patrick. Was there anybody in this group that kind of has been, really the rallying voice to get some of these other guys to recruit, to really go after them, not just on Twitter and things like that, but just in general?
Yeah, I'd definitely say Noah Grubbs for sure. Like when the class was young and it was like when I joined, I don't even know. I think there was like maybe 7 or 8 people. He was like from the beginning, like, let's go and get these guys. And then as more people started committing, TJ Davis played a big role as well. I would definitely highlight those two for sure.
Okay, nice. And then in terms of the coaching staff, are you guys? I'm assuming you guys keep in constant communication with the coaches, and you're able to ask them questions and make sure that you're ready to go for when you get on campus.
Yeah, definitely. No, the coaches reach out all the time. The day we committed, well, actually, the day before, we were all on a Zoom call, the whole entire class, just discussing some actual school related stuff. And Freeman was there, and it was the day before signing day, so he gave a big speech to all of us, and it was pretty special.
That's awesome. Are you going to be an early and early?
Yeah, I'll be there in January.
Aren't there's several guys on the team that are gonna get in there in January, right?
Yeah, there's either 24 or 25 out of the 27
Wow,
kids.
that's
Yeah, it's the
insane.
biggest in history that we've had.
I can't that's going to be huge. I mean, I there's a lot of guys, yourself included, that I think that we've talked about could be early contributors, if not starters, on this recruiting class. So, really looking forward to seeing you guys at the spring game, because that'll be your chance to kind of show everybody who you are. Have you guys had a chance to like talk about? And this may be too early, but have you talked about like what number you're going to wear or anything like that?
No, none of that yet. I think that'll be more once we're already moved in and everything. Yeah.
Who's a player that you're excited to go up against? Maybe it's a guy that's on campus right now, or someone in the class.
Oh, I mean, I guess on the defensive side of the ball, I feel like um, Bryce Young, like I've never versed a defensive end that size. He's like 6'7". I've never versed a D end that size, and there's a lot of talented guys for sure that I'll be looking forward to go up against.
Now you played, excuse me, you played O line and D line. I'm assuming you're going to just be playing O line at Notre Dame.
Yeah,
Does that make you sad at all? Do you prefer O line, or do you like playing defense too?
I love O line. I was never a big D line fan. I played it because I was the biggest kid on our team, and I want to contribute in any way I can. But I love O line and everything about it.
Love it. Now let's talk about your high school a little bit. You went to it's Allegiant or Allegan?
Allegan.
Allegan, Michigan. Is in what high school did you actually go to? Talk about kind of that experience. If you want to give a shout out to some of your coaches, teammates.
Yeah, so I played my 4 years at Allegan High School. Our best record was my sophomore year. We went 5-4. We never really been a football school. We're more good at like tennis and all those sports, but I enjoyed it. It was a small town type of vibe. I just had fun with my teammates and brothers for 4 years. So yeah.
Did you go to a lot of offensive line camps and spotlights and all those kind of things over the last couple of years when things started to get real serious about collegiate football?
Yeah, after my sophomore year, basically the whole summer, I was somewhere at a camp, mainly D1, trying to get my name out there, and it definitely paid off because most of the schools I visited, I got an offer from. And then also my junior year, a bunch of game day visits I went to. After I'd already had a bunch of film out there, camp clips and everything, that's when I also started getting more offers.
Very cool. Some of the other guys on the offensive line in this class, again, they're just a lot of real talented, athletic kids, not just on the defensive side of the ball, but on offense, on the offensive line. Have you guys been able to start looking at the playbook yet, or any of the schemes you might be looking at that'll be so much different than what you're used to in high school?
None of the actual playbook stuff, but every now and then I train with Gregory Patrick. Him and his dad are big film gurus, so we always know that Notre Dame runs a lot of bid zones. So whenever we're training, we're practicing that type of footwork, but no specific playbook stuff like that.
When you're watching the games on TV, or if you're in person in South Bend this last year, do you see certain things that Coach Rudolph had these guys do that you're like, wow, that's really impressive. That's something I hadn't thought about doing. Hearing some of the conversations that are taking place on the sidelines after a play, do you ever kind of think to yourself, man, this is going to be something, I can't wait to learn from this guy, or that's a technique I really haven't thought of?
Yeah, definitely. He's a great coach, and I am excited to learn from him. I guess specifics, I'm not fully sure how to give you an answer on that, but I mean, he's a dude that I want to play for 4 years. He's awesome, and I can't wait to learn everything and just soak up as much information as possible.
That's one thing that always amazes me when you kind of get when you get kind of the inside track, and like the here come the Irish coming up on Monday, the behind the scenes, so to speak.
Yeah.
It always amazes me how much offensive line play has developed from just, hey, go smash the guy in front of you, to, like you said, mid zone, zone
Mhm.
reads, and all these different things. It's like when I played, it was literally just hit the guy in front of you and try not to get in the way. And now it's you're truly a part of a machine to make these Jeremiah Loves and Jadarian Price, and probably next year Aeneas Williams, give them a hole to get through. But there's just so many techniques to it. I just think it's really evolved, and that's why guys like you and Patrick and all these other guys in this class that are playing offensive line, it's got to be exciting, but also a little bit intimidating, just going into that environment, knowing that you're about to go into an intense education environment, but also an intense football environment. So, how have you kind of prepared yourself mentally and physically, for that matter, for what's about to happen the next 4 years?
Yeah, definitely. Once I started getting recruited by them, I noticed like I just cared about everything a lot more because that's a place where I really wanted to be. So my grades went up every year, and I finished this year with all A's in every class.
It's awesome.
Um, so I feel like once I get there, that'll help me. But there's also going to be like the student to faculty ratio is like 1 to 22 or whatever. So there will be a lot of people around there that are trying to help me succeed in the classroom and on the field. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, I know that Notre Dame has a lot of resources for student athletes too, tutors and different things like that. And that's one reason we love Notre Dame so much is just that it's not just about being a great football player, but it's about being a great person in the classroom and off the field. And obviously, Coach Freeman preaches that all the time. So I think you're going to fit in really, really well there. We had a comment here I wanted to read. Kelly Bentley Reed said, Allegan is where I graduated from. Go Irish. So she's got a picture of looks like her looks like five kids with all Lions gear on. So are you guys close to Lions Stadium where the Lions play?
Yeah, Ford Field's like 2 hours and 45 minutes from me, right across the east side of the state. So
So is that your pro team, the Lions?
yeah, for sure. Definitely. I always grew up. I remember as a kid, the first ever game I saw on the TV was the Seahawks in their all green uniforms. So that was always my favorite team. But now the past like 5 years, as I've started growing up more and actually understanding football, it's always been the Lions.
So let's talk about your kind of your upbringing. You know, your mom is very active on X. She shares all your highlight reels and all that kind of stuff. She's obviously very proud of you, as any parent would be. Let's talk about your home life. What your brothers, sisters? What's your home life look like?
Yeah, I got one brother. He's older. His name's McLean. And then both my parents. We've always been big into football, and we always loved to fish. My mom's dad, my grandpa, he has a house in Wisconsin. Um, and every summer we always try and get up there, get away for a week, week and a half, and just fish and kind of wind down from everything else, you know?
That's awesome. Wisconsin, are they close to Green Bay at all?
Oh, I think they're like 2 hours from Green Bay.
So
Yeah,
you'll
they're
so you'll have
like,
a big cheering section at Lambeau the first game of the year next year, right?
right?
Can
I'm excited for that. That'll be
I
cool.
I was gonna say, can you believe that your first ever game for Notre Dame is gonna be played at freaking Lambeau Stadium? That is
I
insane.
know. That's sick. I'm so excited for that.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get to see you on the field. I mean, have there been any conversations about that? Like, hey, you should expect to, just learn the first year, or is it just kind of like, hey, come in here and work your butt off and let's see if we can get you on the field in some capacity as a freshman?
There hasn't been much of that talk, but I kind of think that's their whole point. Like they want to leave it up to me to decide how much I play. Like it
Okay.
depends on how much I'm willing to work and if I'm obviously doing what I'm supposed to be doing, you know?
Sure. No, that's good stuff. All right. Well, this is about the time of the show or the interviews where we like to let all of our guests kind of shout out anything that they have going on. Any NIL stuff, any where people can follow you on socials. If you have any plugs that you want to give, any charity, anything like that, please. The floor is yours to kind of throw anything out there.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I could really think of is my Instagram, my Twitter, my TikTok. It's all the same username, Sully G74. So that's where you can always find me at. But other than that, I don't really have much.
Okay. Well, hey, Sully, we appreciate the time. I know you're super busy. Oh, one last thing I wanted to go to. You kind
Yeah.
of mentioned before we went on air about your signing day experience. So, can you kind of walk us through that? From waking up that morning to everything in between.
It was a pretty cool day. So, I mean, we woke up at, 7 a.m., signed at like 7:02 or whatever, but kind of hung out the rest of the day. And then at 3:30, we planned my signing day at the high school. And I was thinking like, okay, it's probably gonna be about 20, 25 people. And then I get there and I know my coach had invited news stations, but it turned out there was three news stations there. And 100 plus people showed up.
Oh
So it
wow,
was a really cool experience. I had the whole table set up with the shoes that we got made that Jerry Barca made us custom cleats. I had a Notre Dame flag and everything. It was just a really cool experience. And that support from the community meant a lot to me.
I love that. That's got to be just an incredible moment, and we're very happy for you. You seem like a really great kid. Got your head on straight, so I think you'll fit in really well at Notre Dame, and we look forward to seeing you out there. We go out a couple times a year, so definitely give you a high five and hope you do real well out there.
For sure. Thank you guys.
Thank you. You have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you soon. Go Irish.
All right. Sounds good. Go Irish.
All right. So that was our interview with Sully Garvin, one of the 2026 commits. We obviously had signing day on, was it Tuesday or Wednesday? I'm getting my days confused, but actually the second ranked class according to Rivals. You've got, what is it now? Three or four 5 stars, depending on what service you're looking at. Rodney Dunham is the highest ranked recruit. Ian Primer, the tight end, who just got I think it was player of the year for whatever state he lives in, or for Kansas, I think it was. Of course, Joey O'Brien, the freak safety that reminds me a lot of another safety that is playing in the NFL right now, from Notre Dame. Kari Adams from Maryland. Aiden Pouncey, he's listed as a safety, but I've been thinking that he may even be maybe a two-way guy playing receiver too. Ben Nichols, huge offensive lineman. Grayson McKeog, big offensive lineman from Pennsylvania. Ebenezer Watade. I thought he was going to be a 5-star, but he plays like a 5-star. He's 6'3", 221 pounds, fast as a very fast. Yeah, as Jonas Walton, and then of course our boy. You want to talk about your guy, your favorite player in the class, Nate?
Yeah, Javen Osborne. He's by far my favorite in the class. I've said that multiple times. He's got that electric speed that you've seen from Notre Dame running backs in the past decade or two, where it's just like he hits the hole and he's gone.
Yeah.
And it's just I can't wait to see that again, because he reminds me so much of Dexter Williams.
Dex Fuchs,
who is one of my favorite Notre Dame running backs of all time. Shout out Dex. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this class. Like we said, there's a lot of offensive linemen on this class that I'm like looking forward to. Like usually in every class, there's one or two guys that I'm like, okay, they could be guys that contribute here in the future. But there's like 5-6 guys that I'm like, they could start next year, and I wouldn't worry. I wouldn't lose sleep over it.
Well, you were listening to a guy like Sully that we just had on the show, and he's the character of athlete that people that Coach Freeman and his team are recruiting are just you just feel like, man, I'm glad this guy's a part of the team that I cheer for. And but yeah, Tyler Merrill, Big Oak, is in the class. We've had a chance to talk to him on the show. Had a chance to talk to Javen Osborne. And they all just seem like just really, really good dudes. Not to mention being freak athletes who should be able to compete for playing time pretty quickly. There's a couple guys in this class, Nate, that like I think about, and I really truly think, man, these are the kind of athletes that 5-6 years ago we were not getting.
Yeah, 100%.
You think about guys like Braden Robinson. You think about guys like Elijah Golden. You think about Rodney Dunham. Some of these guys that we just were not able to close on in the past, and just shows you how Marcus Freeman has been able to really just completely change the culture and completely change the future outlook, if you will, of the program. I want to hear from you on who you think is going to be somebody that's kind of flying under the radar in this class. But for me, and this is going to sound like I'm being a simpleton and choosing the layup here, but for me, one of the most underrated guys in this class, to a guy that I think is going to be straight up legendary, is Fitz. I think that Devin Fitzgerald, obviously the son of Larry Fitzgerald, which is why I said that it could seem like a layup. I just think he's the kind of guy that is flying under the radar as much as you can with being a Hall of Famer son. But he was a 3-star for a very long time, got his 4-star early on in the football season, played at Brophy Prep where Creed Thomas and Benjamin Morrison played, and others. Watching him, I got to see him play in a passing league at a work thing that we were doing. And he is a very, very gifted athlete. He's completely worlds above everybody plays. Now, Brophy Prep, the reason I think that he's going to be a little bit better than people think is that Brophy Prep plays one of the toughest schedules in the entire state. They play out-of-state schools, and he still looks to be by far not even close to the best athlete on the field when they're playing some of those tough teams. So just seeing the way he set every school record at Brophy Prep in the receiving game. His last game, which unfortunately it was a playoff game they lost, he set every single game record from Brophy Prep. So I think he just continues to get better and better. He got a lot better when you see, and he bulked up a lot in the offseason. You saw some of the offseason 7-on-7s and things of that nature. And now you see him on the field competing against some of the best players in the state. and he's dominating.
Yeah.
So I think that some of these other guys are getting a lot of the attention. I think Devin Fitzgerald's a guy that, quite frankly, even though our wide receiver room, and we'll talk about this later, our wide receiver room is going to be loaded next year, barring any even transfer portal guys. But I think Devin's going to get on the field pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Dylan Faison. I think if you're getting recruited for mainly football over lacrosse, unlike your brother Jordan, then you got to be something special. So if he can be even half of what his brother is, then that's gonna be a crazy addition for the Irish.
And the Faison family in general, Faison, whatever, they are just built from a different cloth. I mean, you see Jordan come out of nowhere. Like, I'm not ashamed to admit I had no idea Jordan Faison was even on the team, and then out of nowhere, Louisville a few years ago. We don't really want to talk about the game, but he comes out of nowhere and catches the first touchdown pass, and he burns the corners, and he's just fast and electric. And then next thing you know, he's a household name.
Yep.
And a kid that you need that catch. It's probably going to be him, right? It's going to be somebody. He's going to come out and make that play for you, and he's going to give you all he's got. So, yeah, good choice on Dylan Faison. There's so many to choose from. Obviously, everybody's going to say Joey O'Brien, Rodney Dunham, and I think those guys are going to be great.
Yeah.
But some of these under the radar guys, Nick Reddish, a good safety. We're deep safety class once again. Tiki Halla, the defensive lineman. Another tight end that's not getting the same love as Ian Primer is Preston Frizel out of Ohio, Toledo, Ohio. He's not getting the same love, but he's also a playmaker. Obviously, Noah Grubbs, the future quarterback, not getting the love that he definitely should get.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I think that, you hear a lot about Teddy Gerard, the kid that's coming in, possibly reclassifying, but Noah Grubbs he's a little gamer, man. He's got the arm strength. He's quick. Looks to be a very smart football player. So I think he's another one that's kind of being slept on in this class. So I mentioned Braden Robinson out of Red Oak, Texas, fast wide receiver. Bubba Frazier, that's another wide receiver that you're going to hear a lot from. Not as big as some of these guys. Neither is Braden. Braden's 5'8", Bubba's 5'9", but they'll catch everything you throw at them. Great hands, they're elusive. Another legacy kid, three legacy kids in this class. Of course, you got Larry Fitzgerald's son, Devin. You've got Jermichael Finley, who I thought Jermichael Finley was still playing. His son, Caden, who's also going to be a stud wide receiver. And then don't sleep on Thomas Davis Jr.'s son. Thomas Davis' son, Thomas Davis Jr., a hard-hitting linebacker out of Matthews, North Carolina. Just a really, really, really impressive class all the way around. Kudos to Coach Freeman. Carter, one of the recruiting leads. Coach Mickens obviously is involved in dang near everything. And don't sleep on Coach Rudolph. I freaking love Coach Rudolph, man. I think he's not getting the love he should for some of the recruits that he's able to lock in on the offensive side of the ball.
For sure.
Tracy Garvin, that's Sully's mom, says these guys are so ready to get to work at Notre Dame. They all love the culture of Indy and all choose hard. Yeah, that's what it's all about, and they have to. I mean, it's not a myth. These guys, you see them walking around campus with their backpacks, coming from class, rushing to class, and still finding time to sign autographs for kids and take pictures, and just some really great kids. Let's see, KJ Dearman, happy holidays, Irish fam. Go Red Raiders. Yeah, guns up. Can't believe I just said that. Let's see, Adam Rothenberger says, I can't get that going. What about the portal? Who's a target, or are they growing organically? Yeah, I think there hasn't been a whole lot coming out about the portal, who's going to enter, who we're going to try to go after. That usually doesn't come out for a month or so, a couple weeks after the season type deal. But I think it goes without saying that we need some more depth on that defensive line. Don't know what Gabe Rubio is going to do. You hope he comes back for one more year since he's had so many injuries.
I think Gabe's done after this year. He doesn't have another.
I thought he had an ability. I thought he had an opportunity to come back because he had the injury.
I don't know if he took a medical red shirt.
Okay, well, if he can't, that would suck because we love Gabe, but hopefully he can. Sean Sevillano, obviously, is a guy that we love, will be back. Onye will be back. Malcolm will be back. So you got some guys like that, but you're going to need some more depth. Heinisch will be back. So you'll have some guys that have a lot of experience and then guys that don't, but Chris Burgess is another guy that kind of flashes to me that's made some plays this year. What's the guy's name? Number 42. Cole Mullins.
Yeah, there you go.
Cole Mullins, who knows what happens with him, but again, you need some big Warren Sapp type defensive linemen that go in there and just get nasty. So I'm hoping they hit the portal fairly hard for some defensive line depth.
Yeah, I haven't heard of any names that have entered the portal defensively. There's been a ton of receivers
Yeah,
that
quarterbacks
entered.
too.
I didn't know about quarterbacks,
There's
but
been a
yeah,
few- there's been a few.
receivers for sure. One that really caught my eye was Michigan State's wide receiver. I know we don't really need receivers, but
Mhm.
that dude is ridiculous. I can't think of his name right now, but he led Michigan State in like everything. So that would be a nice pickup. But I don't want to get too far into that right now, just because we could be in the playoffs this time in a few weeks. So
Yeah.
we'll save that for a future show in January or so, and talking about portal guys that we got.
Let's see. Oh, this is cool. Roger Weatherall. Ciao from Italy, guys. Always enjoy watching. That's awesome. Thanks, Roger. We really, truly appreciate that. Amber Sullivan, one of our faves here. We love Amber. Anyone see Freeman on the Today Show and just so proud and happy that he is our coach? Perfectly stated, Amber. Yeah, I mean, you listen to him on the Today Show. He was only on there for about 7 minutes, but they challenged him with a question about like, what would you say to somebody that's not having a great day or having a rough time or whatever, and he just answered it perfectly, just like he always would. They straight up asked him, "Are you going anywhere?" And he said, "Nah, I'm good where I'm at. I'm staying." And he's the kind of person you believe that, right? Like it's pretty apparent that LSU at least gave him a call, and the amount of money they're paying Lane Kiffin, you got to know that they probably offered him a bag too, and Freeman basically was probably politely declined and is going to continue building in Notre Dame, and we are very, very fortunate for that. And yeah, there's been some bumps in the road, but we're in a position right now where we need a couple things to go our way today, and then we'll be in the playoffs again, second year in a row, hopefully, competing for a national championship. And I will say this over and over again: there is probably only one team left in the field in the playoff picture that I would be worried about, and that's Ohio State. And I think anybody in the country would be, because they're
Different.
They're just ridiculously loaded. That game against Michigan, at Michigan, they finally got that monkey off their back. They dominated that game. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. I think this year's Ohio State team is probably the closest you're gonna find to that 2019 LSU team.
Good call.
There is so many NFL talent on the field currently. Jeremiah Smith is a literal NFL future great. Clip this, do whatever you want with it. It'll happen. Sayan looks like a senior playing quarterback, and it's only his first year at quarterback at Ohio State. They have a two-headed monster at running back, which seems like they always do. They have a tight end. They have really good edge help. They have Caleb Downs, who's the best safety in football. Like the list goes on and on and on. It's just an insane of talent that they have.
And of course, our buddies, the Styles brothers, Sonny and Lorenzo. That makes me sad every time they make plays, because Lorenzo wish he had never left. Sonny wish he had committed. Just different players, like Nate said. Literal NFL team. And I just want to punch Ryan Day in his face, but he wins. He just wins.
And the offense looks better under Hartline, which is insane.
See you later, though, buddy.
Well,
so no, he's gone.
Is he gone?
Yeah, he's South Florida.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
So they'll just reload. They'll go get an NFL offensive coordinator or something like that. If they touch Mike Denbrock, though, I'm gonna. Anyway, yeah. So shoot, I had something on my mind I was gonna say about that, and I forgot what it was. Anyways, yeah, there's been a lot of coaching carousel already. I don't think they named their Ole Miss coach. South Florida just got their guy. Kentucky hired somebody. So yeah, there's been a lot of the coaching carousels already calming down, thank God. But yeah, OSU's team this year's impressive. One of the best I've seen in a long time, no doubt about that. Message you about the shirt, Jason. That's from Trevor. I got you, Trevor. Yeah, if you're interested in this shirt, I personally love it. It's the Notre Dame Santa Claus leprechaun, whatever you want to call it. It's kind of got the football. Big shout out to our guy Ken Murphy for designing it, this original shirt. And I love it. We've had a lot of interest. So if you want a shirt, let me know. They're $25 or $23 plus shipping. We'll get that out to you before Christmas, obviously. All right, so elephant in the room time, baby. Got a few games today. Nate's gonna kind of talk you through the watch guide, the go whoever guide, like say guns up, and he'll talk about some of the other things that we need to happen today.
Yeah, so this is the official routing guide. So right now, BYU and Texas Tech are playing, and just quick little.
Is it on right now?
Yeah, it's just started. BYU is driving on Texas Tech.
Fantastic.
Texas Tech went 3-and-out on their first drive, but we need Texas Tech to win this game. 1, 2, 3, 100. Doesn't really matter what the score is. We just need them to win. Next biggest one is probably you know what? I'm gonna say the next biggest one is Virginia beating Duke. I think I think if Alabama beats Georgia, that's good. But I mean, I'm sorry, the other way around. If Georgia beats Alabama, that's good. But I feel like the committee leaves Bama in no matter the score
I
because
agree.
you could say, okay, it's 1-1. We want to see the trilogy in the playoffs, which I could easily see them doing. And to be honest with you, it's probably best for viewership, for being 100% honest. So, you know, I think the next biggest one is Duke and Virginia. If Virginia wins, it's kind of just clear cut. They get a spot.
Yeah.
If Duke wins, there's a mess to go through. You know, does James Madison get in? Does who's the other team? Who play at Tulane? Does James Madison? Does Tulane get in? It's just a mess. So it's one of those teams. Like I said, we talked about Bama and Georgia. And then the biggest question mark tomorrow, the show that we're gonna have is gonna be at around 12 o'clock Eastern time, right when the committee comes on to say where the rankings are at. But the biggest question after today is going to be who gets in, Miami or Notre Dame. That's the biggest question, no matter
Pretty
what
much.
happens today. And it's that's the hardest thing to, you know, say. Well, like we up them on this. We don't have any standing ground against Miami if we're being 100% honest. They beat us by 3, beat us by 10, whatever. They beat us. And we kind of need to, you know, show if we do get into the playoffs that hey, that loss was a fluke. I think these last 10 wins have been
Double digits.
our recovery
Yeah.
from those 2 losses at the beginning of the year. But if we're being honest, we lost our 2 biggest games, so we can't be too upset if we don't make it because we didn't do our job in the beginning. And I'm sure Freeman will say something like that.
Oh yeah, 100%. The if you haven't already noticed, the Here Come the Irish show will be on Peacock starting Monday again. I literally cannot wait for that because it's going to be very interesting to see some of the conversations, some of the things that were said after those first 2 losses, especially in such freaking the first game. We just didn't. It just wasn't a good game for us. You know, you got a first time starter at quarterback. You got weather. You got on the road hostile and Ruben Bain and I keep saying this to the Miami fans I argue with that CJ Daniels catch was a once in a lifetime catch, regardless of how Schuler played it. It was a once in a lifetime catch. So there's a lot of things that went their way. But at the end of the day, like Nate said, unfortunately, we just didn't take care of business, and now we're kind of stuck sitting here chewing our nails down to the bone, waiting for tomorrow's final bracket show. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Right now, the brackets are shaping up like this. They've got Ohio State number 1, obviously, daunted number 2, Georgia number 3, Texas Tech number 4, Oregon number 5, Ole Miss number 6, A&M at 7, OU at 8, Bama at 9, the Irish at 10. The 11th seed, I think, will be the ACC winner, unless, like Nate said, there's chaos. And then number 12, we just saw last night, is freaking Tulane. Tulane is playing in the college football playoffs, guys.
Weird.
And it looks like they'll match up against well, it's hard to say who they match up with, but whoever they end up getting in that first round, to go ahead and put every single penny you have on whoever they're playing and the points, because it's going to be ugly.
One thing I just wanted to add, I feel like if I was in the committee and everything fell the way we needed Notre Dame, or the results today, we needed everything in Notre Dame's favor to go, I would just do a straight up Miami Notre Dame 8-9 matchup and then truly decide, you know, was that game a fluke or is Miami actually that good?
They're not good.
Well, I know.
Sorry.
I'm just
Not.
saying.
I know what you mean, but I've been arguing. I've been at literal war with Miami fans all freaking week long, and it's been fun because they're thing. Well, head to head, we get it. We lost head to head, but guess what? Don't lose to unranked teams. They lost to 2 unranked teams in SMU and Louisville, and SMU hasn't looked very good down the stretch. Louisville has looked kind of inconsistent down the stretch. But I just somebody we posted it. Somebody put something out that talked about what Vegas would have the odds at if Notre Dame played some of these teams that are in the playoffs and Miami, and we'd be favored against everybody except I think Indiana's a pick'em, and we'd be a 3.5 point dog to Ohio State, I think is what it was. This is a great point right here by Anthony G. Want to read it out? I may be in the minority here, but the atrocious end of the game non-holded call against A&M needs to be considered. Dude, that is a great point, and I've been thinking about that a lot lately. Like, it was so blatant. And then you look at the replay again. I've watched that play so many times just to torture myself. But you look at the replay, and the ref is literally right on the play. I mean, right on the play where Heinrich just gets literally dragged down by that offensive lineman because he got beat. Heinrich makes that play. Game over. We aren't even having this conversation. Notre Dame's a 3 or 4 seed.
Yeah. I mean, I think you can also make the argument that the tight end that made the play pushed off a bit. He used
100%.
his arm to get separation on Drake. So
There were so many things in that game, so many calls. That's when,
but again, you have to go back to the fact that we gave up 40 plus to
yeah,
A&M.
that's true.
And I know the defense has been great, and I'm really happy about that. But you also need to say that we don't deserve to be in because of those first 2 games, and we need to start off next year, guns blazing,
Guns up.
and guns blazing, and
Guns up.
not have to worry about the committee or leaving decisions into the committee's hands.
I've got a kid that, believe it or not, I used to babysit when he was a little guy at my church, and he ended up going to Texas Tech. It was Brett Alvarez. I know he's probably not watching because he hates Notre Dame, but he gives me so much crap, and I'm always talking smack about Texas Tech. So the last couple of days, I've been giving him crap, saying go Tech, go Red Raiders, guns up, just left and right. And he's mad that I'm doing that because there's this untrue rumor that I'm a curse on my teams. So yeah, but
this rumor is true.
no, that
Confirmed true.
Cannot be
True.
validified. Sorry. Let's see. Yeah, and Nate started talking a little bit about next year, and looking at next year's schedule and the team that we have coming back and the coaches that, well, obviously God forbid anybody big transfers, but next year there is literally zero excuse. Like the schedule shapes up very favorably for us. So there really should be no conversations other than, where do we have our first playoff game at? Obviously you got to win the games, but I look at that team come back next year, the new guys coming in, and then the way the schedule sets up, and I'm like, man, this is going to be a good year for us. Let's see. People thought we didn't deserve it last year after our first game, but we proved we deserved it after beat Penn State and Indiana and Georgia. Don't forget Georgia. Yeah, no, the Indiana game, I think some of the daunted fans think that we were not in control. We were in control of that game from about start to finish.
Yeah, just took the foot off the pedal.
Right. But the Georgia game for me is when I was like, oh, okay, this could be a thing. And then of course Penn State, that was a stressful game. And then Ohio State, I mean, I truly thought we had enough firepower finally to compete with them, and then enough defense to stop them. But obviously I was mistaken. BYU is still driving.
They're in the red zone.
They're in the red zone. They have had the ball. Well, I think
they just scored a touchdown.
Okay, fantastic. So BYU is up on Tech. Hopefully that's the last of it. I keep hearing about how great Jacob Rodriguez is. Maybe he can make a play. But yeah, so BYU's up. That's not good.
Yeah, if BYU wins, it's curtains for the Irish, by the way.
Probably, yeah. Probably. See, Eric Martinez says, I coached a girl in softball from 10 years old, and she went to Tech as well. She gives me crap. Yeah, I mean, give them their 1 year of shine, and then they'll just be back to irrelevance after this. So they can have their 1 year. Let's see. It was the second and third quarter for us. Riley was gassed, and we picked up in the fourth. Yeah, it was definitely the second quarter. That first drive when let's be honest, Riley handled that drive on his own. And when he marched down there and scored, I was like, this is it. And then, of course, it wasn't. BYU just scored, yep. See, Amber said, I'm hoping and praying for Indy to get into the playoffs, but I won't be mad if they miss out. Those 2 losses were killer. Yeah, like Nate said, like Amber just said, and like a lot of people said, I mean, and Freeman has said numerous times, you got to win our first 2 games. But if you really look at the bigger picture, they're one of the 12 best teams by far, 10 best teams in the country right now, and they should be rewarded. But we all know how the committee is, and I think that, I think that if they wanted us truly out and make it a hard road, I think that Notre Dame would have been lower from the beginning. But I think that at the end of the day, it's just going to come down to our fates in the hands of others, and that sucks.
The thing that concerns me the most, I think, is the fact that Bama jumped us, and for really no reason at all.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's to make the SEC title game look more appealing to the viewer, I guess. But it just makes no sense because Bama was multiple chances away from Auburn beating them, and Auburn is terrible. Like one of the worst teams this year. And they almost lost to Auburn on the road, and there's other games that Bama struggled with. You know, they didn't look great against Georgia when they played
And they
at
got
Bama.
destroyed by Florida State.
Well, yeah, that was stupid. And Florida State ended the year terrible too. So
All right, well, we're gonna get on and torture ourselves by watching this game, and hope that Tech can, as Anthony G said, get their bleep together. But you guys have a great day. Hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving with your families. Let's remain calm and know that what's going to happen is going to happen, and we'll look forward to tomorrow. We are going to do a live show tomorrow. Try to get it as close as we can to when the selection show actually happens, because if you remember last year, it was like a 2.5 hour show that needed about 10 minutes. So, and we know that's going to happen. They got to pay their bills and all that kind of stuff. So, we'll be live. I don't know exactly when. We'll try to get as close as we can to when they start. I think they usually start like around 20 or something like that in ballpark.
Yeah.
So we'll try to judge it so that we can go live when they get closer to like the 12 to 8 seed, which is where we're going to be looking at one way or the other. So stay tuned for that. Again, if you guys want to order one of these really cool Notre Dame Santa Claus Santa Con shirts, let us know. I did get a couple messages while we were on the show, so thank you for that. We'll get those going, get those compiled and ordered hopefully tomorrow, and then get those in sooner than later. But yeah, we appreciate you guys watching. Love all the support. Appreciate all of you, and we'll see you guys tomorrow at some point. In the meantime, go Irish, beat whoever, and guns up.